Woo, can you feel the tension? I can. I can feel it down in my plums.
Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty keg of 4 units getting played, always find the value, I would never be afraid. Scared money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-Prop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTB screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTB screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies. And everyone here right now, like, where the fuck Spin Doc? Fucking but Spin Doc will be here in like 30 seconds to a minute. Had to run around to do something, but is on his way to the house and will be on here shortly. As you know, guys, if you're new, please hit the subscribe. If you haven't already, hit the damn like button as well. And it's that time. Like I said, 30 seconds to a minute, and the man will appear. I know they ain't showing up for me right now, Spin. So I took 2 days off. I took 2 days off, bro. Not because yesterday was just a shitty card, and they knew about the rain. They weren't dumb. And if you bet Lizardo at minus 160, you cashed, but you sweated that bitch out till 3 in the fucking morning. How you been, my guy? How you doing? And it's that day, bro. And we didn't get to talk beforehand, so I really hope I'm not going against you on some of these things.
Nah, I don't think so. We usually see the board pretty similarly, but no, it's going great. It's Friday. We got a weekend coming up. Got out for my first golf outing yesterday with my son, so that went well. And even though we are pretty shitty right now, I'm still rocking my squad. I'm gonna rep my squad forever, man. Even though we're pretty bad right now, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about K-props.
We can kick myself in the face though, because what did we talk about last week, bro? About the Twins versus a lefty. How they only seen 44 lefties and they were 2 for 44. And what did I do when they faced Dragons? Didn't look at him. I looked at the box score. And he fucking torched him, bro. And I'm just kicking myself right now. So I had to take a couple days off because I'm like, bro, you're overthinking shit. So let's get into it. There's one guy that I'm definitely not overthinking, I don't think. And it's the first guy we're going to talk about on today's board. It's the guy you wanted to talk about, and it's Tanner Bybee versus the Royals. Striking people out last year at a 26% clip while walking people 6% of the time. This year, 14% strikeout rate in just 2 games. Opening him up at 5.5 plus 120 on DK. He's now plus 124. Pitching out 17.5 minus 140 to the over, whereas earned runs are at 1.5 juice to the over at a minus 155. Projected lineup is 5 righties, 4 lefty, whereas career K percentage is pretty much damn near same, whether it's lefty, righties, home road splits. Let's talk about Senior Bybee.
All right. Not getting it done from a K perspective, that's for sure. Not this year, at least. And a few reasons that I see looking into it as potentially why. He still is going 4-seamer, cutter, slider, changeup. Those are his 4 main pitches. He's throwing them basically about the same, about what he did to lefties and righties as he did last year. But like with guys that we've talked about here and I've talked about elsewhere that have had some struggles with Kane, guys, a couple of the matchups he's had have played a part in it, but a few other things. First thing is his 4-seamer. It's his most off-throwing pitch, 41% this year, 43.4 last year. averaged 94.6 last year. Now it averages 94. So we've talked about how even a 0.5 mile an hour dip can be significant on that fastball. The other thing is, while the fastball typically doesn't need like a ton of spin to generate whiff or to generate misses, the spin on his fastball is down by almost 150 RPMs. Under 2,200 RPMs on that four-seam fastball for the first time in his career. For a guy that places the four-seamer where Bybee does, which is in, if you're looking at it on a clock, in the 12 to 1-ish o'clock range, and tries to spin it upwards with some upward movement to get guys high and tight in the zone, that can mean a big difference. The put away rate, which is the percentage of time that a guy actually strikes out on the four seamer, last year it wasn't that high to begin with, at 16%. This year only at 12.5. So you have some velo issues with Bybee. His velo on his slider is down by almost a full mile an hour, and the velo on his cutter is down by a half a mile an hour. Spin on those pitches are all down as well. So this is not what you want if you're looking at taking an over for a guy against a Royals team that's striking out against right-handed batters 19.9% of the time. They're not walking a ton. Part of that is because they're swinging so aggressively in the zone. They do have actually and they're swinging aggressively outside of the zone. So the problem that I have with even looking at an over for this one, because I'm actually looking at an under for this one, is that the Royals do have one of the highest swing rates outside of the zone, but they also have one of the highest contact rates outside of the zone. As of this morning, the highest contact rate chasing in Major League Baseball. And with their projected lineup, I believe 6, possibly 7 of their hitters have chase contact above league average. That's not good for Bybee, because what he needs, the one thing that he has been getting this year, even though the low strikeout rates, is his chase contact has been down in his first 2 starts. Now, overall, for the life of his career, it's about average. But this year, it's been down. And you go and you look at this Royals lineup, aside from the fact that in 108 plate appearances against Bybee, they only have a 21.3% K rate. So not very big to begin with. And then you factor in the lower spin, the lower velo, the lower everything. And the one thing he's been doing is generating low chase contact, more specifically but certainly not on his four-seamer, more specifically on his slider. So his slider spin is one of the ones that's kind of close to what it was last year, generating a 36.4% whiff rate. Not a lot of these Royals are whiffing the sliders. So this is a very, very clear under look for me. This is a very, very clear, just complete under or nothing look here. I need to see, before I even think about taking an over on Bybee, I need to see the velo back. I need to see the spin back too. Normally I can tolerate if like one's down slightly and the other one's pretty much the same, because it's only 2 starts, so you think, well, it's not a huge sample size, et cetera, et cetera. But when both are down and the strikeouts aren't coming against guys he should strike out, and the spin is down, I can't look anything but under here.
And that's the way I'm looking too, but I just feel weird. But every time I feel weird betting an under, it is what it is. But like you said, the Royals over the last 2 weeks, they're not walking, only striking out 20% of the time, but they're also not fucking hitting. They have a bottom 4 ISO, guys. So that can project Bybee to be out there for 6 to 7 innings. Now, this is a divisional matchup. And like you said, 21.5% strikeout rate. And they're putting a 5.5. I get it, it's at plus money, but he was a 4.5 2 weeks ago versus the same team, and he ended with 2 strikeouts. Now, if we look at his metrics, like he brought up, was the chase contact. That's been his bugaboo, guys. Now, he lives in the zone, so zone contacts is another thing I'm going to look at, but way more emphasis on the chase contact. What the fuck do the books see to even put this man at a 5.5? Because be it last year or this year, guys, we have 7 of the 9 or all 9, depending on the year, who are better than league average when it comes to chase contact. if we look at zone contact, we have 7 of the 9 projected batters better than league average, whether it's this year or last year. And the only 2 that really do struggle are the ones that say it in their fucking past history. It matches with the metrics, Perez and Melendez. At the end of the day, 2 guys is not enough to go over. So it's under or nothing. Why in the hell is it a 5.5? That's my issue. Or am I overthinking things is what I wrote. Like, am I overthinking this?
The only thing I can think of is his first 2 starts were on the road. This one being at home, because they did jump him to a 6.5 last time again at Anaheim. The 4.5, I'm assuming, was based on past history, and obviously it was the first start of the year. It was opening day, so they jumped him up to a 4.5, from a 4.5 to a 6.5. Now he comes home, so I saw it as they're splitting the difference. They're saying, okay, he gets a team that he's faced before, bad past history, but he's at home versus on the road. So we went to a 4.5. That didn't work. We went to a 6.5. That didn't work. We'll split the difference and juice the under. That's how I saw it, but I could be reading it wrong too.
No, I'm just something I wrote, and then I also wrote down the alarming shit about his fastballs. You know, like you said, you brought it up. I'm not worried about the velo. It's the spin, bro. It ain't moving.
No,
And
it's way down, way under average now too. And his fastball didn't have a lot of spin to begin with.
Last year too, though, Bybee took like 4 to 6 weeks to get going. So maybe he's just a slow starter. But yeah, dude, the juice, they won't offer a 4.5. It's fucking what, -160 to the under.
Oh yeah.
So they're making you fucking pay the juice. To me, it's pay the juice or fucking run, dude. I can't get there.
Nope.
Next guy.
I'm gonna wait to see. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying, I'm as always, I'm going to wait for the lineup to come out. I want to see lineup construction. I want to compare it to last game, compare past history, because when you have a divisional opponent, you have a lot of past history to draw from, and we'll decide from there. But I can't anywhere look at an over on this one, especially not until I see his spin do something, something.
Yeah, I get it. But watch the time I bet an under, he does it to me. Fucking cuck. Alarming, right? 11.5%. Well, fuck, this year it's 13.5%, whether it's his strikeout percentage or his walk percentage. So fuck me running. Morning line 6.5 plus 115 on MGM, now plus 105. Pitching outs not available. Earn runs 2.5 -160 to the under. Projected 5 righties and 4 lefties. Career numbers, he struck out lefties 30.5% of the time compared to 28.5%. And has been better on the road than at home. Rain is definitely coming in this one, guys, and it doesn't look like this game's even going to get off today. But Ray is going to get the Yankees, be it tonight or tomorrow, and what I hope to be a doubleheader, as they got to get these interleague games in, guys, because there is no other time to play when this is the only time you're going to see them. You got to get these games in. They will force these games to be a doubleheader, as it shows nothing but rain through the Bronx all day and night tonight. So this game ain't going. But what I am looking at is Robbie Ray, guys. Is I had some high hopes for this guy coming into the season, as he picked up a changeup from Tarek Skubal. And first game, granted, I ran him versus the Reds. I pulled him down some, and the dude had a fucking perfect game going through for, and then just shit the fucking bed and couldn't get an out to save his life. And then he's seen the Mariners, where it seems like it's easy when you face the Mariners, but you gotta fucking throw strikes. And Robbie Ray ain't throwing no fucking strikes, guys. Robbie Ray is out of the zone 4 or 5% more than league average, depending on what year you look at. That's about his norm. So when I run this Yankees lineup, I'm going to have to look for guys who are not going to be patient. If you're just going to swing out the zone, you're feeding into Robbie Ray and what Robbie Ray does. Now, we look at the lefty at bats that the Yankees have seen, as they have 200 already in this 2 weeks of baseball, as I like to get 200 from the left-handed side. We got a team walking league average, yet only striking out 22% of the time. So I go see who the fuck have they seen. And we go look through, and they beat up on Bailey Faulkner, Okay, he's a bum. They beat up on Nestor Cortez. Okay, he's a bum. Andrew Heaney went out 7 innings with 10 punch-outs, where Skubal went 6 innings with 6 punch-outs. So all in all, guys, they seen some bums, they seen an ace, and then they seen a middle-of-the-pack type of guy. They get to bums, guys. They're handing the ass to the bum-type pitchers. Robbie Ray, to me, isn't a fucking bum. So I go through this lineup. I'm looking for zone swing percentage, and we have 6 of the 9 who are league average or worse at swinging outside the zone. With small pass history, guys, as we have a K percentage of 29% in just 45 at bats, as he struggles versus Judge. And by the metrics, it looks like Grissom is also going to be right there with Judge on the struggling part, as they just don't chase and they're not going to swing out the zone. And that doesn't help our boy Robbie Ray. But the rest of these guys do. And I'm coming up with 6.5 on a bad day. And it comes down to Dominguez and Peraza, the 2 kids without enough at bats to really judge them. But when you run it through it, guys, both of these guys are elite at walking, above 11% career wise versus a lefty. Yet one strikes out 24%, the other 27%. Can they strike out? Yes. Will they take their fucking walks? Yes. So in this doubleheader lineup, I want to see Peraza or Dominguez out. I need one of these kids. I don't know what's going to happen with them. And they are at the end of the lineup, so that's okay if we're going to do lineup construction. But when I go fastball slider, guys, as those are his bread and butter, he did add in the changeup. And that's the one pitch Judge does struggle with. Can he get Judge? I'm not saying he does, as it's 1 strikeout and like 13 at bats, but he can. It's there now. Just does he go to it? So right now the lean is over. I haven't got there. Like I said, I think it's a doubleheader tomorrow, and we can get some shady lineups in a doubleheader. Anything on Ray? You're muted. Or am I muted? Because I don't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. All right. So, definitely with the changeup. You talked about that. I was going to bring that up too. And that's especially true when you get this Yankees lineup, just because they have a number of guys who have some pretty outrageous whiff percentages to the changeup. Judge specifically at 45.8%. You have a number of other guys here that are at like Jazz is at 35. You have a couple other guys over 30. So you have plenty of whiff against the changeup here for Ray should he decide to use it. Agree with your assessment about he's got to throw strikes, because the Yankees are one of the most patient teams in the league outside of the zone. They actually have the second lowest swing rate outside of the zone. But you go and you look at some of the other teams that he has faced, and you don't see as much whiff percentage against the changeup, even in the Mariners lineup, that you do in the Yankees lineup. You don't see a lot of guys in the Mariners lineup that he would face over 40%, whereas there's multiple guys in the Yankees lineup who have that. You also see guys like J.P. Crawford, who he faced, and like Moore. I mean, these guys are down under 30%. Crawford's down at 11% against a changeup. So that weapon was kind of rendered useless for him. And as you mentioned, they do take their walks. So at least what I saw based on looking at a spray chart from that game is because if the changeup's not going to be effective, the new pitch, then you got to rely on what you got. And he was trying to nip around the corners, and he wasn't getting calls. Not to say that like they were like terrible bad calls. There were a couple 50-50 ones that went against him, and he ended up walking 5 guys. And so if he stays with the program, meaning fastball, changeup, and changeup against righties, fastball primarily against lefties, and then the slider as the out pitch, there is definitely 7+ strikeouts to be had across this lineup. There for sure is.
Yeah, I mean, when I went through this projected lineup zone swing percentage, it shows me only 3 guys actually good at it, bro.
Yep.
So it's like, okay. And then you look at the past history, and he fucking eats Bellinger alive, and Chisholm's going down, Goldie's going down.
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to me. Does he get Peraza or Dominguez? And both of them say they could definitely take their walks. I don't know. Right now, I think the number's right. The number's where it should be. I don't see no super advantages. I'm going to look at the over tomorrow if I get this doubleheader like I expect. But damn, come on, Robbie Ray. Don't let me down, you bitch. All right, guys, do me a favor. If you like what you're hearing, smash the like button. And if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. This is one where I'm thinking we may be against each other, but I'm fucking hoping not, because I ain't good enough to be betting shit right now if I'm going against you. So Jacob deGrom at the Mariners, striking people out last year 32% of the time while walking people 2.5% on the year. This year, only 20.5% strikeout rate in just 2 games. Morning line was 7.5 plus 122. It's now plus 116. Pitching out 17.5 at a pick'em. Earned runs 1.5 at a pick'em. Projected lineup 5 lefties, 4 righties, where career-wise he's struck out righties at a 3% better rate, and at home he has a 5% higher strikeout percentage than on the road. But a lot of that home road stuff goes back to the Mets, and he used to talk about a whole lot of electricity he got from that place. I don't think he's talked about it in Texas, so nope. Let's talk about deGrom.
All right. Well, I included deGrom on here, not even necessarily to give like an official play, but just because I figured that given the opponent, given the pitcher, that there would be a lot of interest in discussing it. So here's my thoughts on Jacob deGrom, because I have seen people, and I've even had people kind of ask me about like, well, what's wrong with Jacob deGrom? And you look at his metrics and you don't really see anything fundamentally wrong with the way he's throwing the ball. His fastball, his four-seamer, the velo is down a little bit, but it was averaging 97.3 last year, albeit limited number of pitches. He's averaging 96.7 this year, so that's about the same. The spin on his four-seam fastball is actually up. The spin on his slider is actually up, and the spin on his changeup is about the same. So, fundamentally, metrically, there's not really much that deGrom is doing differently than he has in past years. So what's been the problem? Well, you go and you look, and deGrom has spent, he actually has lately this year so far one of his highest zone contact rates of his career. The only time that it was higher last year before he got hurt, and it was higher all the way back in 2017. Now, is that going to continue? I'm guessing that it'll be opponent dependent, because the one thing that deGrom has faced so far is he has faced, one team for sure with the Rays. The Rays have the 3rd lowest strikeout percentage against right-handed batters in Major League Baseball. And you wouldn't think it based on the team. But you think about Yandy Diaz, and you think about a couple of the other, like Yandy Diaz is almost like the right-handed version of Steven Kwan, if you follow like guys.
Juan Soto, bro. He's Juan Soto. You ain't getting him.
Or Luis Arias, whoever you want to call it. But basically, his whiff percentage, go check his whiff percentage against every pitch in baseball. It's like 10%.
Or less.
It's absurd. So basically, that's a dead spot. In that game, the Rays, because deGrom only had 3, in that game, the Rays also ran a number of their higher contact guys, and they also ran a number of guys that have low whiff percentages against the type of pitches that deGrom throws, specifically against high heat. And what does deGrom throw? He throws a heater upon a heater. He gets up to 97. He can push it up to 100. He's still doing that this year. So I don't necessarily want to say that there's anything fundamentally wrong with Jacob deGrom here. His metrics don't say there's anything wrong. His contact rates don't say anything wrong. What I see is a guy, especially last game, digging into that Rays game, is a guy that knew he was facing a team that didn't strike out a whole lot against righties, and had a couple dead spots in the lineup, and he didn't walk a single guy all game and pitched more to contact. That's what especially when you're whenever you're a pitcher like deGrom and you're in the zone closer to 55 to 60%, that tells me that you're pitching to contact and you're throwing strikes. Now, how does that translate to this Mariners team? Well, it translates quite well, because the Mariners do have one of the lower, they have one of the higher swing rates in the zone, but they also have the lowest contact rate in the zone by a mile, by a country mile. So far, MLB average of contact rate for teams in the zone is 85.3. Mariners are at 77.6. They're the only team under 81%. You look at this lineup and you see zone whiff galore. It doesn't really make a difference how you run it, but you see zone contact and you see that there are multiple guys that are projected to be in this lineup tonight, specifically guys like Rayleigh and a couple other ones that are under 60% for zone time. I talked about how the average is like in the 80s. They're under 60%. You even have Julio Rodriguez, who's a rather patient hitter, or has been pretty patient this year at 67.9. You have a Rosarina who's at 73.6. Cal Raleigh's at 77. I mean, I can just keep going, but you get the idea is that there are only two guys in this projected lineup tonight that I even think about as being a zone contact guy to be worried about. One is Polanco, and the other one, at least so far and over the course of his career, would be J.P. Crawford. So nobody else really scares me that much at all. I'm sorry, Dylan Moore, not Crawford. Nobody else really scares me that much in this lineup whatsoever from a zone contact rate. So I go up and down, and if they're going to run Garver, if they're going to run, according to what the projected is, if they're going to run Rowdy Tellez, if they're going to run Raleigh and Rayleigh, which I can't see any scenario where they don't, that's 4 to 5 potential strikeouts right there just because DeGrom is operating in the zone, throwing heat. The Mariners swing a ton in the zone and don't make contact when they do. So I think this line is right. And with the Mariners, I play over or nothing. So that's my look.
I'm
over
so glad you didn't say under because I'm like, bro, I'm ready to
God,
unload on. I haven't bet DeGrom at all this year, pretty much for the same reasons you're speaking of. But it's fucking time. DeGrom gets the Mariners, and can we really put much on 27 at bats versus a team? Because if so, guys, he's only struck this lineup out 22.5% of the time. Well, one thing I say all the time is if the books don't pay attention to it, you don't need to pay attention to it. And if they do, you fucking better too as well. Me personally, guys, no one has more than 6 at bats, so I don't pay no mind to it. But we are getting no love if we do want to bet this man today, as it seemed the Rangers had him capped around 80 pitches, as that's what they were talking about at the beginning of the year. They wanted a baby DeGrom, blah, blah, blah. Kept me off of him the first game. The Rays contact kept me off of him the second game. And now we see a bump of his outs to a 17.5. So do the books know the training wheels are coming off with DeGrom today? Because there is no way in hell I can bet a number like a 7.5 if a guy is on a pitch count, which DeGrom, like I said, was said to be on the beginning of the year. He's 0-2 to his K-prop over this year and gets the Mariners, who over the last 15 days, they're walking second best in the league, only striking out 21% of the time, but yet have a bottom 7 ISO. Now, when I go back and look who they faced, the A's, the Tigers and the Giants, who if I was to bet one person on that team, it'd be Hicks. And he's a middle of the rotation type of guy, and he went 5.1 innings and had 5 strikeouts. Now, they did see Hunter Brown, who is a dog, and he went 6 innings with just 3. Now, when we look at the Mariners' metrics, they're bottom of the barrel in zone contact and whiffing, like my man said, which, yeah, seems to be a recipe for disaster if you're facing DeGrom. As my man said, he lives in the zone, 5% better than league average, throws his fastball slider with his changeup as his whatever pitch, but his bread and butter is his fastball slider. And I come up with a fuck me running if he sees 23 batters, which isn't even 90 fucking pitches, 23 batters. I've got him for 9 on a bad day, like on a fucking bad day. And so I go look for reports, bro. I pull up reports. I go look for Bochy's latest fucking comments. DeGrom looks like he's throwing easy. Everything looks to be non-forced. We're looking to go 6-7 innings in his next game out, depending on his pitch count. That motherfucker's going 90 today, dog. And if you're giving me 90 pitches versus this team and how he lives in the zone and how they just can't hit in the zone, oh, Lord. Oh, fucking DeGrom, baby. I ain't bet him in a while. It's time. It's time.
Think about this. So league average for swinging in the zone is 68.1%. So that's the average swing rate in the zone. The two teams DeGrom's faced already, Rays and Red Sox, 71-6, 73-2. They both swing a lot in the zone. They're both well above league average. However, both of them make contact. The Rays are well above league average, and the Red Sox are about league average. Mariners, worst team in the game. Worst team in baseball in making zone contact. So you have a team who swings just as much in the zone, if not more, than the first two teams he faced, and makes contact almost 10% less for a guy that's operating in the zone. This should be pretty simple math.
I don't know what I'm thinking about. I haven't bet it, but I need the lineups, but I'm fucking hammering. I'm putting a unit on them today. Look at the whiff too. Tampa Bay, top 5 and not whiffing. Boston, middle of the league average. Look what he did versus league average. Look what he did versus fucking Tampa, who's top 6. And now we get the bottom of the barrel. Oh my God. Come on, DeGrom. Don't let me down today. Yeah, I'm betting DeGrom today. All right. Next guy on the board is the other guy on this mound, on the other side of this mound. And fuck. Bryce Miller versus the Rangers, striking people out last year 24% of the time, while walking people just 6.5%. This year, he's striking people out 16.5%, while walking people absurdly 10.5%. This guy don't walk people. He fucking walking people so far this year. Granted, just 2 games. Morning line, 5.5, minus 105 on MGM. Still the same. Pitching out 17.5, minus 165 to the over. Earn runs 2.5 righties, where last year he struck out lefties 21% of the time, with righties at a 25.5%. Big, huge home road splits that have followed him through his career, as he does strike out people better at home, 7% better than on the road. Now, Bryce Miller gets the Rangers, who over the last 15 days, they're not walking and striking out just 21% of the time with a middle-of-the-pack ISO. This is a divisional matchup, so we go look at the 56 at-bats versus Miller, and he's just striking them out 21.5% of the time, as Miller has had 2 games this year versus the A's and the Giants, where he had 4 strikeouts in each game, and was a 5.5 week 1, yet dropped them to a 4.5 week 2, now jumped him back up to a 5.5. When the past history says not so much, now Miller has been a different guy at home, like I said, than on the career, but do the books pay attention to that? Because they never have before. So why a 5.5? As I figured this would have been a 4.5, and it's a very bettable 5.5. As Miller is a guy who is around league average at zone contact and chase contact, but I have used chase contact for the key with him. So we run this projected lineup, and we have 6 of the 9 projected league average or worse when it comes to chase contact, be it this year or last year. So, okay, now I get it now, guys. It doesn't mean I'm getting in, as I get the 5.5, as the past history says, nah. But the books are seeing now what I'm starting to see, as the books say, we don't care about the past history on this one, guys. They're putting it at a 5.5, saying, please bet the under. And I came into this thinking under. I got to the point of now seeing the over, so that just is going to have me straight up off the game. I'm not just going to switch my bet. I'm going in with a way of thinking it. If I see a fucking Waller away, then you know what? I just got to jump off and let it go. And I can see the over with the amount of chase contact that is just not good in this Texas Rangers lineup. So past history says no. Books seem to be saying we don't care about the past history here. And that's enough to I'm going to stay off of it, as I wanted the under, and now I'm just scared, and I can't be fucking guessing myself, So what you got on Miller?
Yeah, about the same where I'm at too. I think that the line is pretty perfectly set where it's at. It's probably not something that I'm looking actively to go with for all the reasons that you mentioned. The only thing I will say is that his four seam velo is down by almost a full mile an hour, which is one of his primary weapons. And he's actually been mixing in. Well, it's listed as a sinker, and you and I have talked about this, Sharpie. I actually think it's more of a two seamer than a pure sinker. But I he's been mixing that in a lot more, and because of it, the whiff rate on his four seamer has actually fallen considerably. It's down by almost 11% from last year. So there's a lot of conflicting signs on this one, which kind of matches up with the 5.5 on both sides. So yeah, it's probably just a pass for me too.
I think though the books are taking all under money on this one for some reason. People look at
Yeah.
past history, bro, and they're like 21%. This guy's had 4 in 2 fucking games.
Yep. The other thing could be too, the Rangers do swing a lot. Their overall swing rate is almost 5% above league average. So there is definitely the potential for Miller to get guys, but especially on those primary pitches, he's just not making people whiff this year. And if you're not going to make people whiff against a team like Texas that swings so much in the zone, then it is probably going to be hard to get Ks. But what the other thing is that to your point, is that I go and I look at with how much they chase. Like, for example, you got a team like the Royals that chases way above league average, but makes chase contact at 65.7%. Rangers under league average at 60.9. So there's definitely the potential there, but to me, it's like a 50-50 shot. And I'm not paying minus 115 on either side for a 50-50 shot because that's negative EV.
Well, we've got a guy right here with some plus money to the over, but I don't know if you're going over. Eduardo Rodriguez versus the Brewers. Striking people out in his career 24% of the time while walking people 8.5%. Now, I said career, guys, because he was hurt last year and was also hurt in 2022. Both happen to be his lowest K percentage of his career, so I'm not going to put too much into that, but he's never been a straight dominant strikeout guy. He's been 24, 25% at his best. Morning line wasn't there. It finally popped up 5.5 plus 120 on DK to the over. Pitching out 16.5 minus 125 to the over, whereas earned runs are at 2.5 minus 160 to the under. Projected lineup is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Let's talk Rodriguez.
All right. So Rodriguez's game where he just absolutely just murked up the Nats for 12 Ks. There are some characteristics that were present that we have here tonight. So, for example, the Nationals are they have a very, very low swing rate in the zone at 65%. They do make contact at league average at 85.1 compared to a league average of 85.3. Here's a delineation point, though. Brewers have almost the exact same swing rate in the zone, so lower swing rate in the zone. They make contact 1% less at 84.5. Now, how does that translate to Mr. Rodriguez? Well, first of all, he is a pitcher that, at least throughout his career, has operated on the fringes, on the corners. He's not a pure zone pitcher. His four-seam fastball is not very dominant. It's only gets about 92.3 on the gun. It doesn't generate it generates an average amount of spin. His main out pitch, especially against righties, is the changeup. So throws it 25.7% of the time, generates about a 25% whiff rate. It's got good spin for a changeup. Normally, changeups you see in the 17 to 1800-ish level for RPMs, but Erod's over 2,000 this year, and he's been over 2,000 a few years. So he's putting people away 20% of the time on that pitch alone. So again, throws it almost exclusively to right-handed batters. And I look at the right-handed batters that are projected to be in this lineup tonight. And I see a lot of guys that he can possibly get not only with that changeup, but also with their lack of zone swing and lack of zone contact, specifically towards the end of the lineup. So Mitchell Capra-Terang, I can see that. Contreras up top. These guys have really, really bad zone contact. And it's something that I've talked about a few times already this year about just the overall zone contact that this Brewers team have. You have Contreras almost 15% under league average. Yelich, almost 16% under league average. Capra is projected to be in 10% under league average. The only guy in this lineup that I would hope that we don't get that would really, really make me want to just go for it on the over here is Sal Frelick. Sal Frelick is a contact machine. 93.3% zone contact, 75% chase contact. One of the most disciplined hitters in baseball. He's a dead spot in this lineup, especially to a guy like Rodriguez. So I still think that the potential exists even with him for 5. Without him, and if they were to go with, well, there's like about 3 or 4 guys they could go with that would give me the potential for 6. Then I would be definitely interested in this as a standalone. As it stands now, if Frelick is in and he's batting, he's projected to bat in the 5 hole. I've seen him bat in the 6, 7. I've even seen him bat like 8 or 9th before. If they're going to bat him low in the lineup, I'm more interested. But if they're going to bat him where he's projected, and this is the lineup that we get, what I would be interested in doing, because I think that the Brewers have a lot of extremes in their lineup, meaning they have guys that are very low contact, like Frelick and a few others for Case, and guys that are very high, like Contreras, Mitchell, and a few others. So I see that Rodriguez 5+ is at -165. I'm not taking that straight up. I don't advocate that. I don't do it myself. But what you can do is any of the other pitchers that we talked about, because I knew we'd be talking about guys who there might be value in doing this with. Anybody else, you can take them down 1, take them down, I guess 2 if you really want to like have some more security and have less plus money, and play it that way. And so play the -1. So for example, if you went with DeGrom at 6+ and you went with Rodriguez at 5+, that gives you a +110 right now on DraftKings. Something along those lines is how I would look to play Rodriguez if we get the lineup that is projected. If Frelick's not in, I'm looking at going all the way on him alone. I think you're frozen, Sharpie. I don't know if you're talking.
Am I back yet? Can you hear me
you're
now?
back. Yeah, you're back. You're back.
All right. I was saying I didn't know if I wanted to pay the type of under they're charging for this under, because when I look at it, I want to hammer this, but let's talk about it. Who have they seen in the 2 weeks of time, as they do have 220 plate appearances versus lefties? They're not walking, striking out 24% of the time, and we know the Brewers, they fucking can't hit lefties. So they're bottom 9.
Yep, froze again.
I keep freezing. This is stupid. But
right. You're good. You're back.
It must be everybody at I have like 5,000 people here for a wedding, and they're eating my Wi-Fi, and I'm going to go yell at them all when I'm done. But at the end of the day, they seen some dogs, and the dogs have dog walked them, guys. And for me, it's chase contact. That's been his bugaboo through his whole fucking career. He is 5% worse than league average. And when I look at chase contact, whether it's last year's numbers, which is 5 of the 8 are better than league average when it comes to chase contact, or this year's numbers where this projected lineup is 6 of 9, it just is telling me to fucking go under. Like, this dude's going to need you to chase and not make contact. And they got 6 of the 9 projected better than league average at that. That to me tells me it's one way. And then you look at what he throws. There's pretty much 3 different fastballs with a changeup and a slider, depending on what side of the plate you're at. If this dude's going to just fucking, I'm not going to bet -165 on an under. It's right there where the Bybee one is at for me. The fact that you're even looking over is enough to say that I don't give a fuck about this one. Don't care. I'm not even going to do no work on it now. But I mean, just the fact that the chase contact is what scared the piss out of me right there. I was like, ooh. Anything else extra?
Nope. Not for that one.
I'm surprised you didn't say this next guy up, but maybe it's because you knew I wanted to talk about him. But it's Taj Bradley versus the Braves. Striking people out last year, 26% of the time, while walking people 8%. Morning line, 6.5 plus 124. It's now plus 112. Pitching out 17.5 minus 130 to the under. Earned runs 2.5 minus 170 to the under as well. Projected lineup is 5 righties, 4 lefties. Struck out lefty to his career, 5% better. And at home, he has a 5% better strikeout rate than on the road. We're going to end the day pretty short and simple, guys. We're talking Taj Bradley versus the Braves after the Braves just played into the wee hours of the night in an 11-inning rain postponed game. And when we look at the Braves' numbers over the last 15 days, they are walking at an 11% clip, yet striking out 26% of the time with a bottom 7 ISO. So a team that ain't been hitting is now going to be tarred. So I see, guys, who the Braves have seen in the last 2 weeks or since baseball started. Cease went 4.1 innings, got rocked, but had 7 strikeouts. King, he had 3 strikeouts as he walked 4. Glass now in 5 innings had 8 punch-outs while walking 3. Dustin May also walked 3, but had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. And Wheeler went 5.1 innings, got rocked, but yet had 7 Ks. Good news for Taj, at least for the over-betters, they have his walks at a juiced 1.5. Way better than seeing a fucking 2.5 out there, as they're saying it's pretty much 2. I can live with fucking 2, guys. You give me 2 walks from Taj today, and I don't know how he don't get 7, guys. So I go by his metrics and look to see what he is. He's better than league average at everything I look for. So it pretty much comes down to his pitch mix, fastball, cutter, splitter, with a touch of curve, as he will use them all equally versus a lefty or righty. And and versus this projected lineup, guys, I come up with the 8 on a bad day, as there's one dead spot, and he literally has action at getting everyone else at least twice. So fuck me freaking running. Even if they add Fairchild to this lineup, who can be a dead spot, there's still wiggle room right now. So give me this lineup, and I'm going to be on it just as much as I am on DeGrom. They're both plus money right now. I think both hit. So even if I go 1-1, I'm not dead for the day. So definitely love this Taj spot.
So you're right about, that's why I didn't list him, because I knew you were going to talk about him. And the Braves have a residency for me on no under island this year so far. So over is the only way to play this. And this could be this honestly, I'm with you. This could be a ladder spot for him. There is, if it's a projected lineup, I see 8. I see 8, maybe one more.
I see action at literally everybody in that lineup twice, but who was it? Arcia at the top? Who was the fuck up at the top?
You mean Albus?
Yeah, whoever was at the top.
It's probably Ozzy.
Albies I got for 0.
Yeah, it's Ozzy.
Harris 1. I've got Ozuna, Olsen, Riley, Murphy, all for more than 1 if they can all chip the fuck in, dog. Like,
oh yeah.
Now, can Taj walk himself out of this game and not hit it? Yes, that's the way he doesn't hit his K prop today. But at the plus money they're offering me, I'm willing to give him that fucking bet.
Yep, I'm with you.
There's one guy that, you asked me if we were going to talk about him. I didn't really do a write-up or anything on him, but we have to mention wouldn't be a show without the titties, fellas. It wouldn't be a show without the titties. Yoshi Yamamoto. Why the fuck is he a 5.5 at a very bettable price to the over with a 37% strikeout rate versus this lineup?
Only thing I can think of is Cubs only have a 19.8% K percentage against righties, but it's not against many good righties. That's the only thing I can think of.
I had to go look into it and be like, what the fuck is going on? And if we go off by last year's numbers or metrics, we have 5 of the 8 who were bad at chase contact. If we go by this year's metrics, in the 3 weeks the Cubs have played, they have 6 of the 9 who are better than league average at chase contact. We talked about it last week with Yoshi. That was his first real test, with 6 of the 9 being better at chase contact. Pitched a great game. 5 strikeouts. Played the Cubs, who actually had 5 of the 9 at the time. Good at chase contact. Only had 4. Played Detroit, who the whole lineup was terrible, had a monster day. It's under or nothing for me here, and I won't bet this under. But this is falling in the Peralta and the Verlander spots where the books are saying fuck you to a very high K percentage versus a lineup. So to me, the books are banking on this year's chase contact. That's what I'm saying. They're thinking they come out and get 5 at best, like the Phillies did.
Yep. I'm with you.
I was just looking at it and I'm like,
the only other one that I think could even qualify as being a titty play today would be Pavetta, just because it's the Rockies.
It's the Rockies. I thought about looking at them because it's the Rockies, but then I said, I don't do shit like that. What are you fucking doing? You fucking motherfucker.
Well, I said it on my own show earlier today because I covered Pavetta for this reason. Said Pavetta is one of those pitchers where you see the opponent and you like it, but you have to understand that some of these pitchers that we talked about today, like DeGrom, like Taj, like a few others, they are strikeout pitchers, and getting Ks and getting guys at the plate is just part of their approach and part of how they operate. Pavetta can strike guys out when he needs to, when the situation calls for it, but he's not a strikeout pitcher. And that's the big delineation point that you have to understand before you just see, oh, it's the Rockies. Oh my God, here, take all my money. Or, it's the Mariners, take all my money, and so forth. Is the guy a strikeout pitcher? Does he have a good situation where he's going to have to or be able to strike guys out? Or is he a guy where, yeah, if he needs to, he can get Ks, and Pavetta is in that third spot today. So, just talking about Pavetta, my take is the same as it was this morning, is that, you can't take an under on the Rockies on the road. You just can't do that. You can't take an under on the Rockies, period, because their swing metrics are so god-awful bad. So it's over or nothing. And then you just got to look at Nick Pavetta, the player, and you got to see, it's like, this guy, just because he's against a team that swings like crazy, he's not a guy that needs to strike people out to have a good start. I mean, look at what he did. Granted, different opponent with Arizona, but he's not a guy that needs to go out there and K 8 to 9 players for him to have a quality start. He can do it K'ing 2 or 8 or none. So that's what you got to look for with some of these guys, because some guys need strikeouts to have good starts. Others don't. Pavetta does not.
Bro, guess who brought his slider back out last week?
Who?
We were talking about it. I was like, before the game and during the game, Freddie Peralta
decided. Yeah.
He fucking threw that curveball away after the third, fourth inning. He said, fuck this, dude. I was so mad.
I remember I was just following on the game cast because we were out that night, and all of a sudden I saw his strikeout total just go boop, boop, boop. And I'm like, and I said to myself before I even looked in, I said, I bet you I could count on one hand the number of curveballs he threw. Like, no, he threw none. He went from throwing 50% curve and getting torched to then he literally just wound up and just threw gas at them 9 or 10 straight pitches and almost had an immaculate inning. It was hilarious.
That was also the last inning he pitched. 83 pitches. They said,
you know what, bro? It was so high. Yeah.
The coach looked at over there and said, bro, if this dude's just going to try to muscle fastballs for another inning, I'm not doing that in Colorado versus no.
Well, no. Yeah. Cause he did it. And then they started to adjust and think like, oh shit, all we're going to see is fastballs. Okay. Well, guess what happens when you connect on a 96 at Coors?
Bye-bye.
Oh. Bye-bye. So no, but it was just funny because you sent me that screenshot of his curveball. It was like zones here, and he's like here, like just all over the place. And then the next inning, it was like strikes out swinging. And I went and looked, and I'm like, fastball. Like fastball. Like it's all he did was just rear back, and he's like, you know what? Fuck this. Here, hit this.
Facts. And sometimes you got to just do that. Sometimes you got to trust your
shit. It was hilarious. He just totally abandoned it mid-game.
But I was wondering, I talked about it on the show. I was like, what are they seeing? And I go look, I was like, it's the curve.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, he scrapped one of his best out pitches of his career. Said, oh, I don't need a slider no more.
And then he tries to throw it the first time with regularity like that at Coors Field, where I'll skip the science lesson, but the overall drop on a vertical curve, especially if you're going to try to do like a 12-6,
it's a gyro ball. It just
it just cuts it off at the knees, because for that to happen, you got to spin the ball heavily. A curveball needs about 25 to 2600 RPMs of spin. If you're not used to it, you are not getting that shit out in Colorado where the air is thin. You are for sure not getting that. I mean, it's a little better now when the temperature is a little more mild, but just wait till the summer. Ain't no fucking curveball guy is gonna get case. That's why Nola went out there last year and couldn't even strike out like 4.
Remember his number was at a 4.5.
Yes. And I remember I didn't give it to anybody, but I told you, I'm like, shh, like, don't tell nobody. I'm like,
I was losing my ass on sailing them, and I text you. I says, bro, this don't make no sense, but I'm chasing Peralta right now. And so, fuck this. And I watched it. I was like, oh, curveball, bitches, thank you. But that last inning, I was like, oh, fuck, if they bring him out, I'm dead. They bring him out.
So if anybody wants, if you want just something to look at, a curveball thrower out in Coors Field, especially one that's not used to it, there's a good chance that they struggle because the thin air, the ball needs a lot of spin on it and a lot of break, and you get that by having those air molecules, and you don't have those out in Coors, so the break is less, the snap is less. Again, there's a whole science lesson that we're too deep in the show for me to bore you with at that, but there is a science behind it.
Facts, and there's a science behind everything. But we appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Smash that like button if you haven't. If you're new, please subscribe as well. Spin Doc, you got a new show you started doing yourself. Tell them about it, where they can find you.
Yeah, so the Spin Zone goes off at 10 a.m. Eastern time every day of the week. I think we're doing 6 days a week, and then not Sundays for now. But I'll still give out some looks and leans just posted on X on Sundays. But yeah, 10 a.m. Just talking strikeouts. I pick 3 pitchers. Whenever I'm on with you, I pick 3 different pitchers. So if people tune into both, they can get nice variety of stuff. And at Spin Doc Sports. So got all the strikeouts working this year. So it's almost April 15th, and it's not just tax day. That's the day that I tell my people, from opening day to April 14th, we only do a half unit on stuff. I'm religious about that. I'm fanatical about it. The shit's too volatile. So on April 15th, around there is when we open it up and we start doing full unit plays. And then June 1st or around there is when we start doing what I call smack plays, which are 2 unit plus, because then we have enough baseline behind all the metrics to make those decisions. So yeah, at Spin Doc Sports, and then like I said, 10 a.m. On X and on YouTube every day.
Yes, sir, guys. You already know where to find me. If you don't, then run for the fucking hills. Quick little recap, guys. We both agree on DeGrom over, Taj over, Bybee under. Listen to it. Take your own opinion. And may the baseball gods be on my side today. Please. Lord, please.
Agreed.